The Miami Heat have done it once again, as they are finding themselves in the Eastern Conference for the second year in a row and the third time in the past 4 seasons as well. They have just been one of the best stories of basketball. They're one of the easiest teams to root for because they are consistently one of the biggest underdogs as well, and they just play basketball the right way. They hustle, they play hard, they have some of the best culture literally in the entire league, and it's not even close. And the Miami Heat, for how much playoff success they've had in recent history, they still are consistently underdogs every single time in the NBA. Last year, nobody expected them to make the Eastern Conference Finals even last year, and they were able to do it, and they went Game 7, almost making it to the finals that year, which would have been completely beyond anyone's expectations, and even them just going as far as they did was already way past expectations. And now you have this year where they made the Eastern Conference Finals coming out of the play-in game. They're by far the best play-in team that has ever came out of the play-in so far, and now they find themselves only 4 games away from once again having a chance in the NBA Finals. And to show you how much of an underdog they were coming into this year, out of the 18 playoff teams that they had this season, they had the 14th best odds of making the finals, and above them were teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. Both teams, by the way, being the teams that they pretty much dismantled in the first and second rounds to get where they currently are. And despite all of these odds being completely stacked against them, no one having faith in them, probably outside of their most diehard fans and themselves in the locker room, they have made it once again to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, you can't find this type of underdog story anywhere except for the Rocky movies, okay? They're basically the Rocky of the NBA. They're a team that barely made the playoffs. They had a rough regular season all year. They barely squeaked into the playoffs through a play-in tournament, and then they beat one of the finals contenders in the Bucks. They beat New York Knicks, which a lot of people were rooting for because everybody just likes to see the Knicks do good in basketball, and now they're playing the Boston Celtics, another heavily favored team against them. And from what we've seen, when they're the complete underdog and people are saying they stand no chance, like they're saying in the Eastern Conference Finals this year, that's usually where they play their best basketball, and Jimmy Butler comes out. So no telling how good the Miami Heat can play, and I'm not going against them at all. I'm not betting against them to say they won't be upsetting the Boston Celtics, and I'm not saying they won't make the finals, because they consistently prove everyone wrong on a very consistent basis. And the catalyst for this underdog story that they are putting together is obviously one of Jimmy Buckets himself. Okay, Jimmy Butler has been insane through the entire playoffs so far. In the playoffs this year, he is averaging 31.1 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists per game on very good efficiencies. And let's be honest, he basically single-handedly eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks in the last 2 games of that series, as in the second to last game, he dropped 56 points, literally being the reason they won that game. And then even just the next game, he still led the team in scoring, was an absolute beast, and just had a very good game. And he continued that streak going into the Knicks series. Now, although he didn't have any crazy 50-point games, he was still probably the best player in that entire series, including everyone on the Knicks and everyone on the Miami Heat. And it wasn't very close, and the Miami Heat were able to win, I think, in 6 games, and it wasn't that competitive of a series either. And I just think Miami showed how much grit and their culture means, and how hard they're willing to work, and they have a perfect leader in that being Jimmy Butler. There's no leader that represents the Miami Heat culture better than Jimmy Butler could. He works his ass off. He plays hard every night. He can carry you on either side of the court. He's going to dive on the floor. He doesn't care who's playing with him. He is going to go off, and that is exactly what the Miami Heat have in Jimmy Butler. And with that said, and taking into how Jimmy Butler plays, he is basically the antithesis of how the Miami Heat organization is ran, as they have some of the best culture in the entire NBA, from Mike Spoelstra being a complete underdog, from film guy that used to cut the film to now becoming one of the best head coaches in basketball, Pat Riley always finding success no matter what he does. The culture of this team is just next to none, as there's no other team possible where the vast majority of the roster could be made of undrafted free agent guys, and they would be in the Eastern Conference Finals and have this much playoff success that they have enjoyed over the years of basketball played in the past few seasons. And it has been extremely motivating to see that a team of all these quote-unquote forgotten pieces, like these undrafted guys, and even Jimmy Butler, who for a while was kind of ostracized from the team, or from the league almost, because the 76ers said he had issues and personality issues. The Minnesota Timberwolves, there was that big story about him yelling at them and not wanting to be there and saying that they were soft. But now he really found his home in Miami. They really play how he wants them to play. They play how Mike Spoelstra wants to play. And all these things kind of combining into one just creates the best culture in basketball, and maybe even the best culture in all of organized sports. as despite not having the flashy superstar level players like someone like the Lakers and the Clippers and all the Los Angeles teams are going to have, they have found basically the same success, because you'd be hard pressed to find someone that has been to one NBA Finals, 2 Eastern Conference Finals in the past 3 seasons. You'd be very hard pressed to find any organization that has had more success than them outside of maybe a select few. So I think for sure that you have to put them up there with the upper echelon of the league. They just do it very differently, and they focus more on culture than they do on the flashy superstar talent, look at us type of thing. But unfortunately, guys, that's more for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the Miami Heat are one of the best teams in the league? Do you think it's because of their culture? Do you think it's because Jimmy Butler? Do you think it's because they're an underdog? On your thoughts in the comment section below, and tell me how you feel about the Miami Heat as well. It would mean the absolute world to me. If you'd like me to point, hit the like button, and subscribe button, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I have a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah.